mind gets all worked up about these pointless little behaviors, blissfully unaware of the great vaporizing meteor due in 2015. Which obviously doesn't exist because I'm kidding!
Last night, we had a bright event picked up by all 6 of our NASA cameras in the southeast, and it was seen by over 120 eyewitnesses throughout the southeast, including the Carolinas and Georgia and Alabama. And this object was described by many as having multiple colors and breaking up in pieces and stuff like that. Well, it wasn't a meteor. It moved too slowly. This thing hit the atmosphere moving between 14,000 and 16,000 miles per hour. And while that sounds fast, meteors move at 24,000 miles per hour or faster. So it was moving way too slow to be a meteor, and the angle it hit the atmosphere was very shallow. It came in almost horizontal. And that's not typical for a meteor either. So the speed combined with a shallow entry angle suggests that it was a re-entering piece of space debris or something like that. You'll see that there are 4 distinct objects. There's a bright object ahead of the main one, which is the brightest, and there are 2 fainter ones behind that, trailing behind. And this is typically what you see in a re-entry, where the object is breaking up, and as the pieces fall off, each one of them begins to burn up and become self-luminous. So it looks, the video looks like a re-entering object, something burning up in the atmosphere.
How about you? You still on Earth or on the ship with me? Well, it doesn't make very much difference because sooner or later, will all of us be on the menu? All of us.
I think it's time to open the books on questions that have remained in the dark, on the question of government investigations of UFOs. It's time to find out what the truth really is that's out there. We ought to do it really because it's right. We ought to do it because the American people, quite frankly, can handle the truth. And we ought to do it because it's the law.
that there was a memo from, a comment, I should say, in a speech by then Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld, who stated that there is $2.3 trillion unaccounted for in the Department of Defense budget. Let me repeat that number, $2.3 trillion. So by 1993, our group concluded that not only was it possible for humans to make peaceful diplomatic contact with these visitors, but that it was very important that the world know this. So we started a project that's known as the Disclosure Project, which people can see at disclosureproject.org, where we began to identify military and corporate and CIA intelligence officers who had personal knowledge of the classified operations dealing with this subject, and to get them to come forward with our information to disclose this publicly. And the Disclosure Project really began in 1993, and around that time, of course, I was asked to brief President Clinton's team and his first CIA director, R. James Woolsey. So between 1993 and the year 2000, we spent a great deal of time not only putting together the evidence and the proof, which is available at disclosureproject.org, but meeting with members of the Senate Intelligence Committee in the United States, meeting with former ministers of defense in Great Britain, people who were in the White House staff, and of course very high officials at the Pentagon, including the head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, to name a few. And also at this time, the UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali, his family were very interested in this, and his wife Leah Ghali became very interested, and we met with her and gave briefing materials for them. So it was a public education effort, because what we felt was necessary was that the secrecy should be ended and this information disclosed, so that humanity, not just one country in America, but all of humanity, could make peaceful contact with these civilizations visiting us, but also would lay the foundation for these new technologies, the energy and propulsion systems that are behind these UFOs that are so mysterious. How are they flying? Well, this is understood, but they are in classified projects. So that was another objective, was to get the technologies out to the public so we could have a civilization that would get free from the use of oil and the destruction of